What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and Dave Chappelle is no stranger to controversy, but his latest Netflix special has so many of these activist weirdos riled up. They are mad, they are pissed, and they want Dave Chappelle canceled. They want Netflix to pull this special down from their platform, which I do not think that will happen. But one of Netflix's own executive producers has already quit, said they're no longer going to work with Netflix because of this Dave Chappelle special. There are people out there that said Dave Chappelle is using his white privilege. Yes, that's what they're saying. They're saying that Dave Chappelle is using white privilege in this routine. It just goes to show that these people will scream and moan about diversity and representation and uplifting black voices, but at the end of the day, if a black man says something they don't like, they will try to silence him. They will try to destroy his life. They will try to cancel him. And that's what's going on with Dave Chappelle. Critics called to cancel Dave Chappelle Netflix for, quote, ridiculing trans people. Now, we're going to listen to some of the things that were said. I have not listened to this entire thing. I've seen some clips of it online, and in typical Dave Chappelle fashion, it is hilarious. It's spot on in a lot of ways. Cancel culture is threatening to shut down Dave Chappelle's The Closer. The always outspoken stand-up comic is pushing the public's buttons again, and is a swelling wave of culture critics and activist organizations are calling for his brand new Netflix special to be yanked from the streaming giant's catalog. The special, the sixth and final in the Emmy winner's big bucks deal with Netflix, premiered Tuesday and immediately stoked the flames of controversy. And the main thing that I have seen out there has been about his comments about the trans community and how they have reacted to people, how they try to cancel people, how they try to destroy people's lives, how they truly do try to bully people. And that's what they do. We've seen it over and over again. 2020 was year of the transphobe, where anyone that someone didn't like got labeled as transphobic, and this entire weirdo Twitter community tries to go out and cancel someone relentlessly day after day after day. And Dave Chappelle said something that I thought was absolutely spot on. Let's listen to this first little clip here before we really get into it, because once again, Twitter is mad at Dave Chappelle, and I don't think he gives a fuck. Listen.
When Sticks and Stones came out, a lot of people in the trans community were furious with me, and apparently they dragged me on Twitter. I don't give a fuck, because Twitter's not a real place.
That is hilarious. A lot of people in the trans community got outraged and they dragged me on Twitter. I don't give a fuck because Twitter isn't real life. That's basically what he's saying. That's something we say all the time, and it's true. The people who use Twitter primarily skew very heavily, very young, very female-oriented, and very liberal, right? That's what Twitter is. And so it's not surprising that some of the things that trend end up trending, that some of the echo chamber nonsense that goes on happens that way, because Twitter is not a good representation of the general population, which is why if you talk to regular people, you'll see that that's not the case. That's why these studios that try to pander to Twitter weirdos, you're fucking dumb, because that is not your main audience. But let's listen to what really has people upset, and I want to show you the kind of people that are mad about this. There's a 2-minute clip about him talking about how they cancel J.K. Rowling, how they'll go after anybody, and the kind of things that they do to achieve their ends. They canceled J.K. Rowling. They started calling her a TERF. I didn't know what that was, but I know that trans people make up words to win arguments. Let's listen to Dave Chappelle.
And they've canceled people that are more powerful than me. They canceled J.K. Rowling. My God, J.K. Rowling wrote all the Harry Potter books by herself. She sold so many books, the Bible worries about her. And they canceled her because she said in an interview, and this is not exactly what she said, but effectually, she said gender was a fact.
He's right. That's what we're talking about here. That's what we're talking about that J.K. Rowling said. And again, like, these people, you can agree with them on 99.9% of things, but you say one thing that might differ from the echo chamber, not only will they kick you out of the club, they will try to destroy your life every single day until the end of time. That's what happened to J.K. Rowling, all for saying that.
And then the trans community got mad as shit. They started calling her a TERF. I didn't even know what the fuck that was. But I know that trans people make up words to win arguments. So I looked it up. TERF is an acronym. Stands for Trans Exclusionary Radical Feminists. This is a real thing. This is a group of women that hate transgender. They don't hate transgender women, but they look at trans women the way we blacks might look at blackface. It offends them. Like, ooh, this bitch is doing an impression of me.
Right? And humor, right? Humor, jokes, things like this is no longer allowed in this society, in current day, with the Twitter mob. You can't do anything like this anymore. They don't want you to. They don't want anyone to say anything that might somewhat be considered offensive to them. They freak out, and that's what they're doing. They're trying to cancel him because of this shit.
Now, I shouldn't speak on this, because I am not a woman, nor am I trans. But as we've established, I am a feminist. That's right.
I don't know what that's from. It's probably earlier on in the stand-up routine, to be honest. Not sure.
I'm Team TERF. I agree. Man. Gender is a fact. You have to look at it from a woman's perspective. Look at it like this. Caitlyn Jenner, whom I've met, wonderful person. Caitlyn Jenner was voted Woman of the Year. Her first year as a woman. Ain't that something? Beat every bitch in Detroit. She's better than all of you. Gender is...
So there it is. This is what people are upset about. This is why people want Dave Chappelle canceled, because of those comments. And when you go here, Dear White People executive producer done with Netflix over Dave Chappelle's new transphobic special. Comic lambasted by GLAAD for ridiculing trans and LGBTQ plus communities. And if we go back to the New York Post article, we'll see this executive producer, Jacqueline Moore. I love so many of the people I've worked with at Netflix, brilliant people and executives who have been collaborative and fought for important art, but I've been thrown against walls because, quote, I'm not a real woman. I've had beer bottles thrown at me. So at Netflix, I'm done. So this person, where'd she go? Gotta find her. Jacqueline Moore is now quitting over this. Chappelle was one of my heroes. I was at his comeback show in NYC, but he said he's a TERF. He compared my existence to someone doing blackface. So this is Jacqueline. She is very upset about this entire thing and is quitting and is trying to put pressure on Netflix, just like all these other organizations, to pull this special, to cancel Dave Chappelle. That's what they want to see happening over his jokes. That's what this is about. Look at GLAAD. Dave Chappelle's brand has become synonymous with ridiculing trans people and other marginalized communities. He's black, motherfuckers. He is black. He's one of those marginalized community people that you always like to talk about and virtue signal for, but not if he's saying something that you don't agree with. Negative reviews and viewers loudly condemning his latest special is a message to the industry that audiences don't support platforming anti-LGBTQ diatribes. We agree. And one thing that's very funny is what NPR said about this. Like I said, look at this from James Lindsay. Too often in The Closer, it just sounds like Chappelle is using white privilege to excuse his own homophobia and transphobia. They're literally calling the man white now because they're going to reject him as a black man because of his opinions. Is that how it works? Is that how your diversity and representation and inclusion work? You do this? What the fuck? And most normal people see the media's reaction. It just makes them want to see it. Because when you see headlines like this, Dave Chappelle's new Netflix special, The Closer, uses comedy to veil bigotry. Dave Chappelle's last Netflix special is a season finale with nothing new to say. For Dave Chappelle's punchlines are dares. His new special, The Closer, goes too far. Yeah, everybody's going to want to watch this now. Everyone is going to want to watch this because of the way the mainstream media and these activist Twitter freaks are reacting. The fact that people are calling to get this canceled is only going to make people want to see it that much more. Because when the media says something that's just too offensive, when the media comes out and tries to vilify a man, calls a black man, says the black man has white privilege, yeah, most normal people are going to want to hear what Dave Chappelle has to say. And all because he's simply stating some scientific facts along with what J.K. Rowling did, and he's making jokes, all of a sudden he needs to be canceled. Now, I know I have viewers that are trans. I know I have viewers that are in the trans community, and I don't think that they are that thin-skinned that they'll let one person's opinion or a fucking joke make them want to ruin that person's life. Because that's not the way normal people operate. That's the way activists operate. And this is absolutely fucking insane. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.